Are you ready to launch your course, but you don't know where to host it? You don't know how to add your content, collect payments, or even register students? Well, I have a workshop for you. Wednesday, August 21st at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to host a webinar, Your Course Creation Roadmap, 4 Decisions to Make Before You Launch. This workshop is designed to give you the tools and criteria you need to make confident, informed decisions about your next step with your course launch. Don't miss it. Sign up on CourseCreationStudio.com and check out the link in the show notes. Hello, and welcome to the Scaling Therapy Practice. This is James Marland, your host. This is the show where we empower mission-driven leaders and helpers to launch life-changing online courses. So glad that you're joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about tips for taking the fear out of recording your online course. If you're anything like me, one of the most stress-inducing things you can do is hit the record button for an online course. It doesn't have to be that way. I can't promise that I'm going to take out all the fear and trepidation that you might have, but following some of these tips, you're going to be able to record easier, better, faster, and be more proud of what you produce. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, I wanted to just share my big tip. This is my big tip. If you listen to only one part of the show, listen to this. Is that the big tip for recording your show, especially the first time that you're recording your online course, is the first time you do something is not going to be the best time you do something. In fact, it's probably going to be the worst time you do something. Recording and speaking and making sure you're following your notes and sounding how you want to sound and getting everything lined up is a skill that takes time. Not everybody can just talk off the top of their head or make their notes sound, radio ready or presentable. So you're probably not going to like the first time you do something. And that is one of the things that keep us from even starting. Oh, I'm not going to like it. I don't like how I sound. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to say a lot. There's going to be a lot of silences as I move from point to point. Your first time you do something is going to be difficult, and it's going to be the hardest time you do it. But you have to do those things to get better. That's one of the mental tricks that as I started podcasting, I know I stumble, I say a lot. I have fear over just recording, like how am I going to sound? I'm 70 episodes in. My first episode, not my best episode, but I'm getting better. And I'm still not as good as I'm going to be a year from now, but I have to do the work. I have to put in the reps. I have to keep producing the things to get to the result that I want. In 5 years, this show is going to be a much different show because I'm going to be a different podcaster, a different presenter, only because I've put in the work. So remember, your first time you do something, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be your best. You probably won't even like it, but you got to do it to get to the good stuff. You got to push through that uncomfortableness to get to where you want to go. The other part about this is don't compare yourself to others. They had to start exactly where you are. All the people you look up to, whether they're online courses or podcasters, they all started right where you are, doing their first episode, struggling to hit record. So don't compare yourself. Don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Do the hard work, get in your reps, and you are going to improve. So that's my big tip for recording your content. The second tip for the beginning of the episode, before we get into the nuts and bolts, is record in chunks. What do I mean by that? If you have an hour-long online course and you can record it all offline, not live, you're not recording it live, take your main points and record one main point at a time, 10 to 15 minutes. record that, get it to where you want, and then move on. Sometimes that means you have to do multiple retakes. Sometimes that means you're you re-record things, but it's better to have 5 to 10 minutes of awesome audio than getting it done and realizing, oh, I got to spend 20 minutes editing this course together from one long take. Long takes. Now it is getting easier and easier to edit video with the AI tools and a program I use, Descript, but it's easier to just stitch together 5 good 10-minute segments than to try to edit an hour and a half of retakes and reshoots and redoing those things. So you don't have to be perfect for an hour. Just try to be really good for 5 minutes and then put those 5 minutes together. And the natural breaks are around your main points. So those are my big tips for recording. I'm going to get into, how do I record my stuff in the next segment. So the next tip is choose your recording method. How are you going to record? How are you going to record your course? There's 3 main ways to do this. There's talking head, voiceover slides, and a combination of talking head with slides. The talking head is just you in front of the camera teaching your lessons. That's no slides, no text, just you speaking. You're either sitting in a chair or standing. This is really great when you need to build personal connection. You are the main attraction of your show, and you are just speaking to the camera. Another advantage is there's no slides to prepare. Often, sometimes graphics and slides, and adding one more program to the mix adds some complexity that you don't want or don't need. If you can teach your topic without slides, and that's the best way to do it, then use the talking head. It's you and the camera. The next way is just the opposite, which is a voice over the slides. The next way to record is your voice behind some slides. You're narrating the visual content, what people are seeing, and you're adding your notes to that. The advantage is they can focus directly on the content, and you don't have to worry about your visual appearance, what you're looking at. Editing is also easier because when you're editing people's faces in video, if you're cutting out a word or two, people move on the camera, so it can look jerky if you have a lot of edits with the voiceover slides. A lot of times I like voiceover slides with lists. I do a lot of courses with lists or steps. And so I have my face on the slide, but I have the steps, and then I'm talking through the steps. The slides are an aid to the student. They're not the main course. What I'm presenting is the main course. So use slides when doing lists or charts or graphs or complex information, the voiceover slides. The next way to do it is just the combination talking head with slides. So that's you and your face in the corner with the content up on the screen. So that's voiceover slides with slides in the background. So when you think about the 3 methods, the first, one of the tips you got to do is you have to choose which way you're going to record. Are you going to do talking head? Are you going to do voiceover slides? You're going to do a combination. The idea is what would work best for your content. When you're recording, what is the best way to record this content for your audience? The next tip is your audio equipment, your room and your audio equipment. I recommend not using your onboard laptop mic or your onboard computer mic or even the onboard mic that came with your camera. I have a Logitech Brio camera, and it does have a microphone, but the camera is about 3 feet away from my face, and my laptop's about 3 or 4 feet away. And so the audio that would be received from that transmission would be hollow and echoey, and it would pick up extra room noise. They're not designed for this type of speech. So I would invest in some sort of external microphone. I use Logitech products and the Blue Yeti brand. There are more expensive kinds and there's less expensive kinds. I just have had friends say that this was their entry level mic, and that's what I bought. I think I bought it on sale for $60 or $80. So that's if you're looking for a microphone, you can do that. If you record with your iPhone, I bought a $20 lavalier. Is that how you say it? Microphone that plugs into the base, and it's wireless, and it has a pop filter on it, and it works pretty well. You can't turn your head to the left or to the right too much, but if you're talking directly on, it really improves the sound of recording from the iPhone. The other thing about recording, and the tip for recording, is to minimize background noise. Try to record in a quiet room, close the windows and doors. Improve your acoustics by adding things that absorb noise. For example, if you have a hardwood floor, you might want to put down some carpet. You ever wonder why people record in a closet? Well, the closet has actually good acoustics, because if you record your audio directly in a closed room with a lot of clothes, the clothes absorb the audio that would bounce from wall to wall. I'm actually in a room right now where it's relatively small and without any furniture. The room is just really hollow, echoey. And so it's my office. So right in front of me, I have some foam that the audio goes from the microphone and into the wall and hits the foam, so it's less. And I have carpet and just some furniture in the room that absorbs sound. So see what you can do. Do a test and see how your room sounds, and then do add some things that absorb sound. Doesn't always have to be the ugly foam. You can buy art that is foam absorbent. It's art put on top of foam padding that absorbs the sound. Make sure that the door's closed. You don't get extra sound. Just minimize the background noise. Do a test to see what it sounds like, and make sure that you have the best sounding audio. And my preference, if I'm going to choose on great visuals or great audio, I'll always choose great audio. It's really hard to finish listening to somebody if their audio isn't great. So there's many different YouTube channels and podcasts on having great audio. So just type in the problem that you're having. I have a small room, and then type in how do you solve an audio problem for a small room, and you will find some excellent solutions for that. So what do you need to do to prepare your room? You got to make sure you have a great microphone. You got to have some extra noise canceling thing. What do you got to do to prepare for your awesome audio content? What are the tools? So the next tip is record with a tool that you know how to use and you're going to actually do it. So it doesn't do you any good to buy Adobe. What's the Adobe product that does podcasts? I forget. But it does no good to buy the Adobe product that's a professional grade product if you're not going to use it, if it's too complex to use. So my tip for selecting the right recording tools is use the tool or buy the tool that you're going to use. I use a program called Descript. I'll include a link to it in the show notes. It's awesome. It does a lot of things that I need it to do. It records audio, it records video, it transcribes my audio so that I can throw it into AI and create show notes. It does timestamps for those types of things. I can upload it to YouTube with a click of a button. I can also create social media posts from it with their AI tool. Now you do get some You do have to pay for the AI tool the more you use it, but for somebody recording 1 to 4 times a month, the free to low pay version is what you need there. The other thing that I like about it is it has studio sound. So studio sound is a button that um, reduces room noise and makes it sound better. So my audio without the studio sound or Descript is like an 80, 75 to an 80 percentile if I would give it a grade. But with the audio, with the studio sound button, I think it bumps my audio to a 89 to a 95. Like it's really that good. It's remarkably different than what what I give it. So that's one of the reasons why I love the Descript program. It also includes some sound effects and B-roll video footage. Um, so yeah, Descript is a relatively inexpensive program. Um, it does also include a program called Squadcast with the Descript subscription, where I can send people to a link that are far away from me, and they can record, and I can record an interview show with them. And the cool thing is, if anybody has internet issues or drops, the program takes care of that because it records the audio on their computer and then uploads it into the cloud. And then when I edit the show, I can just grab their good audio and my good audio. So I've had bad audio before from guests, but while we're recording, but when I download their file from Squadcast, it's a good file. It's good audio. So if you're having audio issues with guests, look into the Descript program. The other two places to record is a shared screen with Zoom. A lot of people do the Zoom recordings. You know how to use it. It's easy to do. The issue with Zoom is if you don't pay for the extra services, the recording quality is low. Like I don't know, it's just lower res. When people send me files to edit that they've done on Zoom, it's not HD. It's like 720p or something, which isn't bad for smartphones, but if you blow up the video at all, it gets pixelated. So just watch out for that. But if you know how to use it and it's your first course and you want to record it, Zoom's a perfectly good option. Now, my friend sent me some slides to edit on Canva. She did her PowerPoint or her slide presentation in Canva and did the presenter view. And this did an awesome. Canva has nice, pretty slides and with some animations and different things that you can do with that. And it did the her head over the slides, and it did that automatically. And it was easy to edit. She just sent me the files. And then also in Canva, there's the presenter view where you can have your notes and you can be looking at the screen and the students can see the slides and you can see the notes. And so you can kind of read your slides like that. So it helps you keep eye contact while looking at the notes. So those are three options, Canva, Zoom, and Descript. What program do you think you'll be editing in? Do you have a program that you use right now? What program would be easiest for you to get it done and not a barrier for you? You can always re-record and upgrade, but what are you going to use to record your first course? The last is just some recording and editing tips. The last tip here. The big tip here is do a test before you actually hit record. Last week, I think I recorded 20 or 30 minutes of a podcast of a content, and the microphone was on. It wasn't muted, but somehow the computer program had switched the recording devices. And so I recorded 30 minutes of my face talking things, but no audio. I was heartbroken because I'm on a deadline. Like I have stuff to do, and I love podcasting and love sharing, but I don't like recording the same thing 2 and 3 times. So do yourself a favor, test your microphone, before you jump into a long 20-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour course, hit hit record, do test 1, test 2, test 3, decide how you sound. Do you need to move the mic closer, further away, turn up the gain, turn up the volume? Okay, it's good, hit record. You're going to save yourself so much time if you do a test recording beforehand. The other thing for prep is set up the environment, make sure the windows are shut, the doors are shut. If somebody is in the house, make sure they know that you are recording. I gave this tip in the beginning about recording, but record in chunks if you can. If you're not recording a live show, do in chunks. Record 10 good minutes and give yourself a break. Read your next notes, practice, then record 10 more good minutes. You're going to review and improve as you go. Now, to edit your content, the thing about editing is it can take just as much time as recording. So if you can get out your course in with 30 good minutes or 15 good minutes and stop and then stitch it together, that's easier than finding the errors, cutting things out, clipping it to make it sound and look good. So the big tip here is if it's going to take you 20 minutes to edit a 15-minute script, please just re-record it. You'll be happier with it. You'll probably do a better job. You'll sound better. Just re-record. The other thing to do is just use an easy editing tool. Now, I do have Premiere Pro, the Adobe product. That's the professional grade product. But I also often, like 99% of the time, I find myself editing my courses and content in Descript. Why? Because Descript transcribes my files and I can edit the content like a Word document. And it's a pretty easy program. It's easy to share. I use it way more than I would the hard program. Now, the more I learn about Premiere Pro for editing, they are adding some of the edit by transcription and some of the other features that I like from Descript. But I'm pretty much ingrained in this program, Descript, that does all these things for me. It also has the AI. So that's the big thing. Find the tool you're going to use and pay for that. Invest in that tool. And when you find the tool you use, you're just going to get better and better at it. And you don't have to have the $100 program if the $10 program works. In recap, remember, the first time you record something is not going to be your best time. Everybody starts there. Put in the work, put in the reps, and you're going to come out with things that you like. Record in small chunks. Record in 5 to 10 minute increments, or as 1 point, and then stitch the points together. It's much easier to be able to record 10 good minutes than to record an hour of great content with no ums, no ahs, no stuttering, no finding your place. That's difficult. So do yourself a favor and shrink the amount of time, shrink the segments of time you're recording. You will get better. You will start recording in 15-minute segments or 30-minute segments or even 60-minute segments with very few errors. But give yourself some grace and break it up in chunks. For the best quality audio and video, use good recording equipment, use a good microphone, limit the background noise, set up your environment before you begin. Also do a test recording, a test screening of your microphone and your setup so that you don't have to have the agony of re-recording something that you're like, oh, I really hit it. This is really great. Oh, there's no audio or there's no video. So make sure you do the test recording. So I'd love to hear what you're doing. I want you to try out these tips and send me an email and say, did any of these tips work for you? And what did you find most useful? This is James for Scaling Therapy Practice. Go put your mission in motion.